Hello, this is Lenny, aka MediocreMilton, back with another Fortnite Save the World video. In this video, I'm going to be showing you 3 Soldier Hero Loadouts that just about every player in the game can make. Now, the reason I'm doing this video, and I'll be doing one for Ninjas, Constructors, as well as Outlanders, is because many players that are either new to the game or have only been playing for a few months, or even those that have been playing for 6 to 8 months but didn't play the game every day and collected all the heroes, may be missing out a lot of the event heroes yet you'll see in many of my YouTube hero loadout videos as well as other people's videos. And what I wanted to do was show you guys how you can build some pretty solid hero loadouts with just the base heroes. Now, the base heroes are the ones that you can get from just playing the game. They come from the regular llamas. You can get them upgrade llamas. You can get them just about every llamas. You can get them from mission rewards, quest rewards, and transforms and whatnot. And real quick, I'll show you where you can find out all of those heroes. So if you go to Armory Collection Book, and the very top tab is going to show you heroes. So we have Soldiers, Constructors, Ninjas, Outlanders. This video is Soldiers. So as you'll see, we have Support Specialist, Special Forces, Colonel Wildcat, Sergeant Jonesy, Rescue Trooper, Commando Spitfire, Urban Assault, Survivalist, Shock Trooper, and Master Grenader. Each one of these sections is going to have one mythic. Each mythic, once you get a mythic, it will give you a team perk, which we'll talk about in a moment. So real quick, what I wanted to show you was some hero loadouts that I came up with, and we'll talk about the changes from prior to 8.0 to now. So under hero loadout, here you'll see the new hero loadout screen, and at the top you have your commander. This is the soldier in this case that you'll be playing as in the missions. You have a team perk and you have 5 support slots, and then you have your 2 gadgets. Now, prior to the 8.0 update, you basically had a commander, you had a support, and a tactical. So now we're adding 3 additional support heroes. And what they did in the 8.0 update was they took each hero and gave them one particular perk. So in this case, Master Grenader, if you have her in your support, increases frag grenade radius by 50%. Prior to the update, she had 3 or 4, I can't remember the exact number, grenade buffs. So she was very good standalone. You could throw 1 or 2 heroes underneath of her and do just about anything. So now each hero having 1 perk means that there's not really a specialist. So if you have Master Grenader but don't have the other heroes that have all the grenade perks, then it's going to be hard to replicate having that exact loadout prior to 8.0. Now, some people might say that's a bad thing, but actually it's probably a good thing because many of the playstyles that developed prior to this update revolved around people just basically spamming abilities and gadgets. One in particular was the Teddy turret strategy, which was basically run an Outlander, particularly Enforcer Grizzly. You drop the Teddy. When the Teddy runs out, throw up a turret. When the turret runs out, you throw up a Teddy. And basically, you could just sit there and almost AFK the mission, not really shoot that much unless you absolutely had to, and it just made the game very boring and bland. So this, while it has hurt newer players because you can't have those OP builds right off the start, it has actually made the game more balanced in my opinion. So with that said, let's get to the 3 hero loadouts that I built that I think would probably be the best. Now, you can use any of these heroes that you really want to, but these are the 3 that I came up with based on my experience playing the game. So the first is Rescue Trooper Ramirez, and this is the hero you start the game out playing as. So the very first mission you play in Stonewood, you're using Rescue Trooper. Mine are all legendary or mythic. Yours would be, if you start the game, I can't remember if she's common or rare, but the rarity doesn't really matter that much. It's just building the right loadout. So as you can see, having her as your commander increases assault damage by 50%. So if you're using this hero, you're mainly going to be worried about using assault rifles and using your abilities in conjunction with that, but mainly you'll be shooting. So for the team perk, because you can see her abilities up here, she has Frag Grenade, Shockwave, and Going Commando. With this loadout, if you only have the base heroes, the only soldier perk you're going to have access to is Keep Out, which is given to you by having Master Grenader. And that gives you the frag grenade leaves an energized area, dealing 12 base damage for 6 seconds. Base radius is 3/8 of a tile, and increases 40%. I don't know what that means with each match. I think that's a typo. But basically, that's an ability that Master Grenader had prior to the update. So that was basically having her full. This would have been basically having Master Grenader, having her 5 grenades plus this. So basically, they stripped that out. They made it its own thing. So now I'm using that for her because this is basically the best option at this point. The other option, if you don't want to use that one, is to use, I think it's Cool Customer. Cool Customer is automatically unlocked. Everybody has access to that. So if you don't have Master Grenader, you can use Cool Customer. And that basically says with Stay Frosty active, using an ability reduces cooldown of all 3 abilities by 3 seconds and ends Stay Frosty. So that would be more if you're focused on an ability-focused hero. And yeah, so getting back to this, so she's basically you're going to mainly focus on using assault rifles with her. I use Master Grenader to buff her grenades. I have Shock Trooper Renegade, which is Doppler effect, and he decreases the cooldown of Shockwave by 24%, so that's her second ability. Make It Rain is Urban Assault Headhunter. Each headshot increases headshot damage by 4% for 2 seconds, up to a maximum of 5 stacks. So if you're hitting those headshots, you're going to be doing extra damage, and definitely helpful. Survivalist Jonesy, just so you can keep your health up. So basically, every time you eliminate an enemy, you're getting 39 base health over 3 seconds. Now, 39 base health might not seem like a lot, but there's a complicated formula that basically it's not 39 base health. It's based on your tech score. So your 39 base health would actually increase more based on your. It's based on your fort stats basically. I don't want to get into too many details to confuse anybody. So it'll be more than 39. The higher your fort stats, which are fortitude, offense, resistance, and tech, the more health you'll heal. So the higher level you are, the more you'll heal. And then lastly, Going Commando. This is kind of just to fill out the role because I don't really like using the Going Commando ability, which is the minigun. That's basically only good, in my opinion, for clearing out buildings or for fighting against mini bosses. So honestly, this was the only thing that made sense in this position, so he's basically filling that slot out. And then down for the gadgets, I just picked the Hover Turret and Adrenaline Rush. These are really optional. I mean, Hover Turret's good early in the game, and I feel like most players want to run Adrenaline Rush early on. You might switch those up when you start getting later into the game. Now for our second hero loadout, this one's going to be more ability focused. So the previous one was focused on ARs. This one is maining Shock Trooper Renegade. So that decreases his Shockwave by 56%. Now even with no buffs to Shockwave, Shockwave is pretty strong and does a tremendous amount of damage. I mean, it covers a decent area, so it's very good for crowd control, and it has a lot of AoE damage. So in my opinion, he'd be the best ability-based soldier from the base loadout, even more so than Master Grenader. I mean, you could use her, but like I said, without the grenade buffs, it kind of makes it, and she's not even close to as good as she used to be. Now in this case, because we're going to be focusing on abilities, so we're going to be maining his Shockwave, but also using his grenades as much as possible. We're going to have Stay Frosty, so we'll get that cooldown. You could also use the grenade buff if you really wanted to, but I think Cool Customer in this case actually makes more sense than Keep Out. Always going to use the assault damage, so when we're not using our abilities, we're using the assault rifle. And as you'll see, these are the same heroes from the previous loadout, so Master Grenader buffing the grenades, Urban Assault for the headshot damage, Survivalist to get some health back, and Going Commando, and then we got the same gadgets. Those don't really matter, like that's all to your, leave that up to you guys to decide what you want to use. And then the third one, if you want to get the highest DPS, you want to main Urban Assault, but that really is predicated upon how many headshots can you get. So the more headshots you get, the more damage you're going to do. If you're really good at getting headshots, then by all means go for maining her. I'd prefer, because I feel like most players are not going to hit headshots consistently enough to you, especially if you're getting hit by groups and like a horde, no pun intended, of husks. So if there's this group of husks, like many husks coming at you from different areas, you might be able to hit some headshots, but I don't know. So if you're good at hitting headshots, then Make It Rain's awesome. And again, this is going to be the same kind of loadout. We're going to have, she has grenades, so she has the same 3 perks. So we got grenade buff. You can also use Stay Frosty, but since we're going to mainly be focusing on using ARs if we're running her, I would say using Keep Out instead of Stay Frosty. And of course, we want the assault damage. Bigger is better. Doppler effect, Survivalist, and the Going Commando just in case there's a minibar, so you have some buildings clear, and the gadgets just about the same. So real quick, we can also look at the other heroes that are in here that you might want to consider. Support Specialist, he's the Warcry buff. So Warcry is great, but his is basically decreases Warcry energy cost, which is really kind of anything where you're reducing energy costs when something has a really large cooldown, like Warcry or like Teddy or stuff like that. It just doesn't make any sense because it's going to take so long to get it back up. So I would honestly probably never main. I don't see very many situations where you would use Support Specialist Hulk unless you just like the way he looks. Special Forces. She has a good perk though. Warcry grants 8.5% additional weapon damage and 8.5% movement speed, and then if you main her, it grants 25.5% weapon damage, 25.5% movement speed. The reason I didn't pick her is because Warcry has a very long cooldown, and it's probably not worth running. I mean, if you if you want to, you could certainly do it. I just wanted to show you guys the three best loadouts, or the 3 loadouts that I would use if I only had these heroes. But you could certainly do a Warcry using her in addition to Colonel Wildcat. Colonel Wildcat has decreases Warcry cooldown by 17% as a standard and 38% as a main. That's a pretty significant cooldown. So if you main her, you're going to be getting your Warcry back on a regular basis, and then if you used her with the Stay Frosty, you could get it back even quicker. And then Sergeant Jonesy increases the duration of going commando. Now the reason I didn't pick that over the Commando Spitfire is one problem with going commando is once you're locked into it, you're locked into it. There's no getting out. So his going commando is normally, what is it? It lasts 10 seconds, but if you main him, it's going to last 30 seconds, which means you're locked into that minigun for 30 seconds. So if you start taking damage, you can't build cover, you can't switch to another weapon, you can't use another ability, you're locked into it. So it'll be really good if you're focusing on a mini-boss mission maybe, but not in most cases. We already talked about Commando Spitfire. He's going to give you, what is it, a cooldown? Spec, let's see. Decreases cooldown of going commando. Again, I mean, I just don't see it. I don't see a situation where I would ever main him. We already talked about Rescue Trooper. We talked about Urban Assault, Survivalist Jonesy. So if you main Survivalist Jonesy, you're going to get 117 base health over 3 seconds. So you're going to get about 3 times. Is that 3 times? Yeah, it's 3 times the amount of health over whether or not you run him. So basically, if you're maining him, it's going to be, as long as you're eliminating enemies, you're going to have very little trouble staying alive and keeping your health up. Shock Trooper we already talked about. Master Grenader, who is the Mythic and does give you the Keep Out team perk. Increases frag grenade radius by 50%, which we already talked about. But if you main her, her frag grenade radius is 150%. And then if you use Keep Out, and if you end up getting later on in the game, getting a couple of the other grenade buffs, it's actually pretty strong grenade. So maybe later on main her. She's still certainly, all these heroes I guess are viable to use, I would say, with the exception I don't see of ever using Support Specialist Hawk or Sergeant Jonesy or Commando Spitfire, unless you're basically going in as a straight up, I'm going to be the support role and I'm only going to focus on the mini boss for these two, and actually him with the Warcry. Actually, he's got Warcry energy cooldown, which is just like I don't think I would ever main him. I don't even know if I would use him in support, honestly, even if I used one of these two. I feel like you could use a something else like assault damage or grenade radius or anything other than Warcry energy cooldown. So anyway, that's my video on the top 3 soldier loadouts. If you have any questions, you can let me know down in the comments. Like I said, all these heroes can be accessed from the regular llamas, so these upgrade llamas can have them in them. When there's hero llamas or people llamas, they can have them in there. You can also get them from the event llamas, and you can recruit all of them, I believe, out of the collection book, if I remember correctly. Let's just go check. So if I click on her, you can actually hit recruit. If you want to spend the training manual as a legendary flux, I would not recommend doing that in the beginning of the game because that is really rough. It's not really hard to get all these heroes, but yeah. Anyway, that's 3 soldier loadouts. If you guys have any other suggested loadouts, let me know down in the comments below. And if you like the video, be sure to hit that thumbs up button, and if you haven't already done so, hit subscribe. Also, one thing, they just changed the YouTube algorithm, so if you don't hit the notifications bell, there's a good chance, even if you're subscribed, that my videos will not be showing up in your feed if you're subscribed to lots of different channels. So hit that notification bell so you get notified of when I put videos out. I'll be doing, like I said, another video on constructors, one on ninjas and one on outlanders in the next few days. And if you want to catch me playing Save the World, you can come check me out at twitch.tv/MediocreMilton. We talk about stuff like this all the time, hero loadouts, theory crafting. We show you guys how to play the game basically from months and months, almost actually a year, and most of the people I've been playing with are playing longer than me. So thousands and thousands of mission experience, so you can see how to actually play the game, build trap tunnels, efficient trap tunnels, weapon loadouts, hero loadouts. Get into some games with us, and yeah, it'd be great if you guys stop by. So I'm gonna end the video there. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. See ya.